Hello classmates, my name is Joe Ramstead, and today I'm very excited to share a little bit about one of my biggest interests within agricultural education, the National FFA organization and the potential for the creation of an agricultural biotechnology career development event. Before we get started, here's a roadmap of what this presentation is going to look like. First, we're going to plug in the GPS by getting an overview of FFA and biotechnology. Then we'll navigate the future as we understand the need for biotechnology career development events. Then we will learn the features of the road by understanding the components of the career development event. Then we'll get some turn-by-turn directions as we analyze the next steps ahead as we work towards implementation. And finally, we'll reach our destination with some concluding thoughts. Before we delve into the logistics of the proposal, it's important to first know a little bit about FFA and the principles of biotechnology. To start, FFA is an intercurricular youth leadership organization centered on agricultural education. The Minnesota FFA Association prepares students for future careers through career development events, otherwise known as CDEs. Minnesota FFA offers 26 CDEs. From agronomy to veterinary science, these CDEs contain exercises that allow learners to demonstrate their skills. With that said, Minnesota FFA should look into creating new opportunities for its members to engage in as they prepare to feed, clothe, and support the next generations of consumers. Biotechnology is one potential career path Minnesota FFA should represent within its CDE offerings. In her textbook entitled Molecular Biotechnology, Carolyn Dellinger defines biotechnology as the industrial production of goods and services by processes using biological organisms and systems. Scientists invest in biotechnology because through it, we can genetically alter organisms to achieve human benefit. For example, we can modify corn by inserting a bacterium referred to as Bt, which allows corn to be resistant to pesky insects that inhibit corn growth and allow producers to eliminate anxieties about pest management. Toward the bottom of this slide, you will see two ears of corn. The bottommost ear is an example of an infected ear of corn. However, the uppermost ear was modified with Bt and thus did not experience damage in the field. As a result, the farmer who grew the Bt corn had a greater and healthier and more economically viable yield. Although this is just one example of a genetic modification procedure that can occur within agriculture, these procedures allow producers and scientists to work collaboratively in order to save time, resources, and the environment. Now that we've recognized the value of both biotechnology and the National FFA organization, it is important to consider the need for the CDE as we navigate into the future. There are three key reasons why an agricultural biotechnology CDE is necessary now more than ever before. First, as we look toward the future, biotechnology is bound to become increasingly important as we strive to conserve our scarce land, labor, and resources. A large reason why scarcity is becoming a harsh reality is due to the fact that the global population is increasing at an alarming rate. In fact, recent projections from the Pew Research Center suggest that global population will reach 9.6 billion people by the year 2050. Secondly, there is a great demand for biotechnology-related careers. According to a publication by Gina Freerman-Hunt and Julie Solberg, there were approximately 1.2 million individuals employed within biotechnology in some form in the year 2015, and this number has only been increasing since. Additionally, after analyzing the employment opportunities within agriculture, the National Association for Agricultural Educators has created 7 pathways, which are listed in the chart to the right. The third reason why the implementation of this CDE is necessary is because biotechnology is the only career pathway that is not represented with the CDE. By not offering any CDEs in this pathway, we have a great deal of untapped potential and are providing a disservice to the prospective biotechnology enthusiasts in the blue jacket. After gaining insight on the need for the agricultural biotechnology CDE, we can now discuss the features of the road, what the CDE could look like if it's approved. Each team competing in the event will consist of 3 active FFA members. The event will consist of 3 components: a written exam, a lab techniques practical, and a scenario presentation. To begin, students will complete an individual written knowledge examination that tests students on their ability to think critically and evaluate information about agricultural biotechnology. Exam questions will come from resource materials provided and will challenge students to apply concepts rather than simply define or identify them. The second portion of the CDE will allow students to demonstrate their knowledge through real-world application. 1 month before the state CDE event, the event superintendent will announce 1 or 2 general laboratory practical topics and a grading rubric on the CDE website. Some of these topics could include, but are not limited to, running a gel electrophoresis experiment, running a blast search, or interpreting bioinformatics data. Students will be observed during their practical and will need to demonstrate their knowledge of safe laboratory procedures. The final portion of the CDE will consist of a team scenario and presentation to a panel of experts. The students will have 30 minutes to read the prompt and create a PowerPoint presentation of up to 7 minutes in length. The students will then deliver their presentation to the panel of judges. After informally consulting with several stakeholders, including agriculture teachers and members of the Minnesota Committee, it was determined that these turn-by-turn directions, or steps, will serve as a logical approach because previous CDE proposals have followed a similar implementation schedule to the 6 steps outlined on this slide. First, we will need to introduce the CDE to the Minnesota Career Development Event Committee at the Minnesota Association of Agricultural Educators Summer Conference in July 2019. Then we will need to conduct initial training and distribution of resources to high school agriculture teachers beginning in July 2019. This will likely be the most challenging yet important step because this step will ensure that all agriculture teachers have access to resources and materials to help prepare their teams. Third, we will need to host mock regional CDEs around the state to obtain feedback from FFA advisors from January 2020 to April 2020. Then, in spring 2020, we will need to make appropriate modifications to the CDE, which will serve as our 4th key step. Our 5th step is approving the CDE at the Minnesota Association of Agricultural Educators Summer Conference in July 2020. And after this, step 6 would be fully implementing the CDE at a state level starting in July 2020. Learning to do, doing to learn, earning to live, living to serve. The FFA motto is a statement we hear time and time again as agricultural educators and stakeholders who are invested in the growth of our students. However, we must work hard to ensure that all students truly do have the opportunity to live out the FFA motto while they are in the blue jacket. The future of the agriculture industry depends on the talent and passions of young leaders of today. Thus, it is our duty to inspire this, and the creation of an agricultural biotechnology CDE is just one of the ways we can do this. And here are some references. Thank you for your time.